graceful performance, and I think it should never be permitted to happen again.
That is very good.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where today we've got some great news for fans of home nations cricket. Scotland have made it through the first round of the T20 World Cup. We'll also be talking about Bangladesh, who have done the same after a shaky start against that Scottish side. I don't know, maybe we'll have a look forward to their potential opponents in the second round of the tournament. I am Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. How are you doing, Ross Legg?
Marvellous, mate. I'm cracking open a cold one, which is the same colours as the Scottish kit, and it's a strongbow, which I've met people from Scotland before drink. So cheers.
It took two sentences, and you've managed to go straight for a stereotype there.
Hey,
well done, Ross.
I'm not drinking Buckfast, am I?
Great, and we've got Ronan Alexander. Ronan, thank you for joining us on the Cricket Podcast once again. You must be over the moon, right?
Oh, yeah, delighted with that. You think Ross is the Scottish one, though, with dancing about and then cracking open the cans. Might have to join him.
Yeah, it's just, half my family is kind of Scottish and Northern Irish, the other half is English, so I kind of get to do both, and then people just go, "Oh, he's this southern wanker." So it's kind of I might as well enjoy it when I can.
I actually on the topic of drinks, I poured myself out a dram in celebration. It's Irish whiskey. It was the closest I could get, but I don't want to be left out.
Fair enough. So. Well, it looks like you've got a Irish kit on underneath your jacket as well. I
think it's Palmeiras, but yeah, close enough, isn't it? It's Ireland tomorrow. We want them to go through too, so we've gone home nations crazy. Although Ireland, I guess, technically are not a home nation. Let's move on. Let's move on away from tribal British politics and talk about cricket. But before we do, Ross, quickly, can you run through a few messages for our listeners?
Yes, you should follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want a new cricket bat, go to woodstock.co.uk, whatever the website is, and order yourself a cricket bat, because you get 25% off using code TCP25. I've actually got the bat next to me today. So there you go. Done. So I've got I'm wearing all the merch. I'm like a full kit wanker instead. So that's very nice. And you could also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel with this video. And we've also got a Patreon. Jack.
We do have a Patreon. We'll do the full Patreon ad a bit later. Okay. Well, how about we get straight into the cricket, because it's quite a momentous day, really, isn't it, Ross? Do you want to talk us through the match we just watched?
Well, yeah, of course I can. I've got. I don't think there's too many digs in at the Scots in this match summary, so we'll give it a go. This was the shootout, the duel, the eliminator, the face-off, the Hunger Game, the non-final final. Whoever wins gets to go through to the proper tournament and take on the adults and the big names from all over the globe. Tensions were high, the toss was slightly delayed, and the Scottish lads had the time to apply that final layer of factor 50. Like Papua New Guinea, Scotland got off to a roaring start as they dismissed Oman's best batter, Jatinder Singh, through a horror comedy run-out. From that moment, it felt as if Scotland had turned up and Oman were there for the taking. Sharif was a nuisance, Leask a menace, and Davy a killer at the death. Oman's Ilyas could not rid himself of the run-out guilt. Skipper Zishan Maqsood could not quite deliver a captain's innings, and they got nothing for free. Even the no-ball free hit was a dot ball. Kurtzer and Muncie opened up, and the pressure of the moment and a bit of Bilal Khan restricted them early on in the power play, but soon Carl Kurtzer found the rhythm that had vanished from his game, playing the bowling everywhere before succumbing to a tasty Kawar Ali googly. The Aberdeen-born Matthew Cross was a slick operator, alongside Richie Berrington, who was born in South Africa, but assertively took the Scots to the promised land. They went to Oman's own backyard and came out victorious. 3 wins from 3 and group toppers. Ronan, it's not a dream, it's real. Through. Congratulations.
Feels good. Well, it's now a chance to test ourselves against the teams in, I think it's Group B we're going through to, or Group 2, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's sort of weird, isn't it? That it's lettered in the first round and then numbered in the second. It should be Group C and D. We'll discuss the nomenclature of that maybe later on the show. Just to put this in perspective, though, for our listeners in India or other places in the world that aren't as close to Scotland, this is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it's as I said, a momentous day for Scottish cricket to have made it this far in a major tournament.
Yeah, I think it's something that's been coming for a while. I think threatened with wins against like Sri Lanka and England 3-4 years ago. But whenever we've got to a major tournament, it's never kind of clicked. Got quite a poor record, but team seems to have really gelled well under Shane Burger the last couple of years and have a really good sort of balance to the squad. Everything seems in a good place. There's a real feel-good factor around cricket in the country, and it's just all came together and the players have delivered. So yeah, there's a real buzz about the place at the moment.
Yeah, it's great. Ross, let's get into the detail of the game, and I think we should start with probably the best moment from the 40 odd overs we saw. You know what I'm talking about. It's the run out, second ball of the innings, was it? Third ball of the innings. Yes. Jatinder Singh, I think probably by a distance the best Omani batter. Probably worth any three of the other players based on what we've seen in this tournament. Goes for a pretty easy single. I was going to say a quick single, but it wasn't really a quick single, was it?
It's his call. It's his call as well.
And he's run out the whole length of the pitch. There were 5 Scottish players around the stumps, sort of taking their time about whipping the bails off. That's a real ouch, isn't it, from an Omani point of view?
Oh, I mean, in the WhatsApp group, you said it was an absolute...
Okay, well, we'll get Ross's views on that on that run out in a second, and he'll remind me of whatever I put in the WhatsApp group. Ronan, let's get back to Scotland. It doesn't come better than that, does it, as a start? It's a bit of a gift, but getting Jatinder Singh out, who was possibly the key to victory, I think, for Papua New Guinea in general, so early in the innings, it must have felt great at that moment.
It did, yeah. I was pretty nervous before the game, especially fielding first as well, because if they got off to a decent start, I think the commentators, everyone said before the game that the power play could be the deciding factor, and Jatinder Singh's the main man for them, so he was going to be pivotal to it. So when he got run out straight away, it kind of settled everyone down, I think, and then the fact that it was so cheap as well. If I was him, though, I would have probably pushed my partner out the crease at the other end, so he was out to sacrifice him. But...
This genuinely occurred to me as something that they possibly should have done. Because it took a while for Matt Cross to knock the bails off, and sometimes you see it like when there are 2 players stranded at one end. They have a little conflab. You're back, Ross. Yeah, welcome back.
I'm back. Sorry.
I'll sort out the border in a second. We've just had to delete that, but we were seamless. We carried on seamlessly. Sometimes you do actually see the senior batter force the other player to leave the crease, and I think that would have been the smart move based on what we've seen in this tournament so far. But a massive stroke of luck for Scotland to get away. Or to pick that one up. I thought the Scotland bowling in general, and Ross, maybe you can give us an answer to this one, I don't know, was pretty good. I've got down here, I had to look back through Josh Davies' tournament so far, 8 for 67 from 12 overs. We saw Mark Watt bowl really well again. Scotland have shown that they've got quite a dynamic side here, I think, Ross.
Yeah, I think it's a good bowling lineup that can actually be rotated, and I think Kurtzner does a pretty good role, or a pretty good job of actually rotating them really well. I think the spinners, he follows kind of the matchups there. I mean, Ronan, when you were on last on the show, you kind of said that Watt was kind of used in that role, and I think that him and Leask, am I saying that right? It is Leask? I think both of them, as actually having 2 spinners that you can trust, especially in those middle overs, is really, really important. And you saw today, the second that Oman's middle order were just like, we need to try and hit out of here. Like, they just couldn't get going. They couldn't find their rhythm, and everything that they hit up in the air was taken, other than one funny chance when the keeper and short fine leg were just like, I don't know whose catch it is, and then both fell over. So I thought they've both been really well. Both done really well, and then the Pacers did the job right. I thought they did really well.
Yeah, I think they pretty much set things up. I think they've done well rotating them in the power play. I think most games so far they've gave each of the Pacers 2 overs each in the power play. Someone will come back in the middle, and then they can balance it at the death for whoever's bowled better, because Wheel is on paper arguably the best bowler. Other than, you could probably say Davey is as well, but Wheel got a bit of tap. I think it was when he came back in the middle, he got hit for a couple of sixes, like the 11th over, and then he didn't even need to bowl his fourth. But obviously they're able to rotate it by having 6 bowlers in the team to kind of use whoever's best on the day, really. So yeah, it's a good balance to it.
Yeah, I thought that watching, going back to their last game actually, it's they've got a really nice combination of bowlers, and so it means from a captaincy point of view, if there is a problem presented to you from in terms of what the other teams' batters are doing, Kurtz has got a lot of options to shuffle through different players and try and solve those problems in a way that I think, if we're being honest, I don't think any of the other associate nations that we've seen at this tournament do have, and possibly
they've always got a bad bowler, haven't they? They've always got one bowler who you're going to be like, this guy might well go for 12 and over. Yeah. And having that as your 5th option, you're just like, oh shit, we're going to have to bowl him at some point. When's it going to happen?
Yeah. Another thing that's a bit different maybe about how Scotland have played this tournament so far, Ronan, is that I think they've bowled 6 overs apace in all 3 of the power play so far. Is that something that Scotland just do, or is that them working off of a plan, do you think?
Not all the time, because when we played the ODIs against Oman recently, Mark Watt opened the bowling. So I think he bowled like 3, maybe 4 overs up front in the 50 over game. So they are able to rotate him and use him in the power play if needed. So he's been the main spinner that's been used, but predominantly it's been mainly pace. I think it was mainly pace against Zimbabwe and the tri-series against them leading up to the tournament. So, but yeah, predominantly pace, but they do have the option there if they needed to.
Yeah, sure. So, Akash in the chat just asked, is Ronan an ex-Scottish player? And that's probably my fault because I didn't introduce you properly at the beginning of the show. But more people are watching now. So do you want to just quickly introduce who you are halfway through this podcast?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not an ex-player.
You should have gone with that. You should have gone with that.
Lie.
Scotland's top run scorer ever and top wicket taker. No, go on.
No, I play club cricket in Scotland, but I have my own podcast and website and Twitter account. It's at Scouting Cricket, so it focuses on players aged 24 or under. So we've got a website, weekly newsletter, a magazine as well that you're able to buy, where we like profile and like scout players and kind of look at different analysis about younger players coming through that people might not know the most about, and that are kind of exciting for the future. So if that's your type of thing, feel free to give it a wee follow.
Yeah, do that. What is it? It's at Scouting Cricket on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
based
it.
Based on what I got here, and if you know what, to make up for not bothering to introduce you properly at the beginning of the show, I'll make sure that I put that link in the show notes as well. So for anyone who's listening, you can just go there, hit that, and take a look at Ronan's website. Anyway, back to the match. Back to the match, Ross. I do want to revisit that run out because you were about to tell a story about it. What were your thoughts? And I know you love a comedy run out and will have prepared notes on this.
I absolutely love a comedy run out because it was there was a lot of chat on Twitter around how the Oman's team has got quite a few Pakistan, like people born in Pakistan in it. Fortunately, Pakistan are really good at giving horror comedy run-outs, and so are Oman. So that must be something to pick up. But Jatinder Singh was like sold down the river massively by Ilyas. It was unbelievable. And then Ilyas didn't even look at him. He literally, it was called. He's like, yes. Ilyas goes, oh, I've not actually started running. I'm going to be run out of here. And then just returns to his crease and looks at the floor. And doesn't look at Jatinder. And it's like it's a horrible moment. Like you just see, like in that bit, it was like setting the tone from the second ball. Oh, it was beautiful to watch. It was lovely.
Right, should we talk a little bit about the chase? Scotland bowled well. I don't know if there's anything anyone wants to point out that I've missed from that first innings. I just thought it was a very professional bowling performance from Scotland. But chasing
McLeod did a really good catch on the boundary. That was, and he was nonchalant as well. That was a nice bit of moment.
Yeah,
Chris Greaves almost got his trademark shit gets wickets because his first ball he bowled at Shakib Al Hassan in the first game where it was a rank half tracker. Then today he bowled. Well, it ended up being a beamer. It got called a no ball, but he almost got a wicket from an absolute terrible delivery.
I was going to ask about this. Is this something that he's doing on purpose? Because every time he seems to come on, the first ball is like an absolute tragedy. It's halfway down or a full toss. Maybe it's there as a surprise. Anyway, Scotland with the bat. It was good, I thought, that Kyle Kurtzer finally turned up. I say finally. I mean, he's played badly in 2 innings. It's not the end of the world. But it was good to see the captain step up and ease Scottish nerves. I mean, 123 to win, it never looked like that much. It only gave Oman probably 10-20% chance of winning at most. But straight away, to have a good power play and to be up and running, Ronan, was great to see, I imagine, from your point of view.
Yeah, I think as you said earlier, the power plays were going to be key for both teams and who won the game. And Scotland obviously bowled well, and then chasing a total like that, it was like just get through it, no more than 1 down, and then you should be able to kind of manage the run rate and get home. And that's what they did. Took a couple of chances, I think, done okay. We're pretty reasonably cautious in the power play. Munsey hit a few nice shots through the offside, and then Coates, the last ball of the power play, smoked it for 6, and that kind of just set the tone for it, and thought, oh, that's fine, that settles everyone down a bit.
Yeah. Munsey, by the way, Crickviz did a really good tweet about this, but it was a classic Crickviz tweet because it's got no real context about how often this has happened or how many games they played or anything. Munsey has scored the 2nd most runs in international T20 cricket with a reverse sweep. Now that is something you can put on your bedroom wall, folks. It's great. I also like the way that there were 3 or 4 sixes that Scotland hit that almost took out the ICC dignitaries in their special box, which is good because I think it's always funny to see overpaid sports administrators running for cover from the sport that they actually are being paid to facilitate.
I can't wait to be a sports administrator one day.
You think that's going to happen? Is that
that's the dream job. That is the dream job. Work in consultancy for about 15 years and then become ICC administrator. That's the next level.
That's the trajectory. Okay, yeah. I look forward to it. It's always good to have friends in high places.
I genuinely thought that some of the balls went out the stadium. Like they stayed hit. Like Kurtz found it was scratchy, right? It's been a little bit scratchy, but today it went in with a finger injury and was just like, you know what, I'm going to step up here. And that was a captain's innings. That's the innings that Zishan Maqsood wish he could have played. Like it was a perfect innings from that point of view. And I mean, he got out to a decent delivery, really.
Yeah, 41 from 28 with 3 sixes. You can't ever really complain about that. And then Cross and Berrington batted well again. Is there a weak link in this batting lineup, Ronan? Because it looks like I feel like we've seen all of the players contribute at some point in this tournament so far. That in T20 cricket that can sometimes just be chance, but they do look like a solid outfit with, to use the Dan Weston phrase, clear role definition.
Yeah, I think, there may be one power hitter kind of light because Cross, Berrington and Callum McLeod, for how good they are, they're all reasonably similar. Although Berrington's been striking it really well lately, so he's kind of punching, not above his weight because he has always been that good. But they're all reasonably similar. I had the player Ollie Hayes who featured in the warm-up games and played the Zimbabwe series. He was nailed down to bat 3, but then he done a shoulder injury against the warm-up game. I think it was against Namibia, so he never made the squad. So maybe like a power hitter, if you're chasing a bigger total of like a 160, can Cross, Berrington and McLeod find that extra gear is probably the only thing. But at the moment, every question they've managed to answer it, so can't make any complaints so far.
Yeah,
I mean, as Johan van Dam just pointed out in the chat, Scotland were 56 for 6 against Bangladesh.
Yeah, but they dug themselves out of that, didn't they? I think almost all of the other teams that we've seen so far would have been like, let's get 100 on the board and look after our net run rate, lads. And they didn't. They were like, well, we're going to try and put Bangladesh under pressure here, and it worked. It worked very well.
I think what I liked about the innings today from Matthew Cross is he kind of felt like the mum of the group. He was just like, right, you're not having takeaway tea. We've got food at home. We're gonna get us through this. Like we're gonna be nice and boring, and we're gonna have bangers and mash when we get home. And that was the kind of innings that he played. He kept it together, right? Kept his cool. They didn't panic, and you would have seen, I think, other nations in that position, even nations that are high ranked, maybe panic in that kind of situation. But to win by 8 wickets, like it's a fantastic win, an absolute fantastic win. And I thoroughly enjoyed finishing any game off with a 6. So Berrington gets a big nod of approval.
Yeah,
I think your mum comparison's quite good with Cross, because did you see when Kyle Coetzer got out the last ball before drinks, the look of disgust on his face, like, Dad, what have you done?
I'm not angry.
Back
I'm
late
just
from the
disappointed.
pub again. Yeah, Scotland. That means they automatically qualify for the next T20 World Cup as well, I think, which is a good way to go about things. And it means they'll be in the second round in the group with India and Pakistan, and New Zealand and memories.
Afghanistan.
Ronan, well, how do you fancy your chances against some of the so-called big boys? Do you reckon you can bag a scalp or two?
I think so. We've got nothing to lose, and we've played against Afghanistan so many times in the past that we kind of know what we need to do against them, although they've came on like leaps and bounds, and they've got so many new youngsters that have came through since the last time we played them, so they're a kind of different proposition. But because we've played them so much in the past, they'll be the kind of closest team that we have the most like familiarity with. Other than that, depending who comes through from the other group, because I'm guessing it's pretty much a shootout between Ireland and Namibia.
Yeah.
So whichever one of those comes through, you'd want that to be the game to target to win, and everything else is just, you've got nothing to lose really. But I think there's a lot of confidence in the team. You can see that with the way they play, so they've got nothing to fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Ross, Oman, they go home. Anything you want to say about them? I've got down here that they've got a great kit, and Jatinder Singh was really good.
Controversially, I prefer their kit to Papua New Guinea's, and I'm not sure that'd be very, very popular. But I liked the red kit. When I was looking around it, if there was going to be one thing I owned, it'd be that one.
Yeah, I like I said on the preview, cricket needs a good red team. Zimbabwe at the moment, obviously, aren't
not so
stepping
good
up to the mark. So cricket needs a red team. So Oman, hopefully we see you back again. Hopefully we see Jatinder Singh, who I think looks like the coolest player in the tournament so far.
Wait, I did like his he did like a Shikhar Dhawan, didn't he? He took that catch, and I was like, after getting run out for 0 in the final, pretty much the game's final, it was just like, how can you turn around and do like an Eric Cantona and just be like, yep, this is absolutely fine. I'm a legend. But you got to have that confidence. Bilal Khan was also pretty good, I thought. He does waddle in like a duck coming into bowl. And on Guerrilla Cricket, they compared him to Wahab Riaz. But I think he's a good little opening bowler, actually.
Yeah, cool. Let's talk about Patreon quickly, and then we'll do the second game, and then we'll do any other business at the end. So patreon.com/thecricketpod if you want to sign up for our Patreon. Ross, what do people get?
They get a signed naked photograph of Maxwell Brown.
Yeah.
No, don't get that. Sorry, that's false advertising.
That's our OnlyFans.
It's the OnlyFans. So there you go. They get a hat. They get to chat with us. They also get a big bag of data. If you want IPL data, every single ball from the history of the IPL, and if you're a budding analyst or just want to prove something on Twitter, because that's what Twitter is all about, is proving people are wrong.
That's the whole point of cricket these days, is being right on Twitter.
It is. Yeah. It's just like, I've written a Substack. I've just proven why Jack Hope is wrong about this. Great. Yeah. So you have the opportunity to do that for the paltry sum of $4 or so, or $5 a month. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I think it's $5. Uma Mahesh, thank you for the super chat. Bangladesh, Ross, I know you've got a good preview written here.
Oh, yes.
Go for it.
Papua New Guinea started off their upset party perfectly as they dismissed Mohamed Naim's second ball and then kept things tight in the power play. But this is where the positivity stops. Shakib Al Hassan showed his class both with the bat and his Bangladeshi royalty reputation as the physio brought on a chair and an umbrella for him to have a little sit down between balls. The skipper, Mamadullah, then showed why he is ranked in the top 30 T20 international batters in the ICC's rankings. So, go on, there's some things to give and take in there. As he put the game beyond the reach of Papua New Guinea alongside Safieddine. They were great value in the field, Papua New Guinea, with some spectacular catching and some not so spectacular ground fielding. Sadly, their top 7 batters could only muster 29 runs between them. That is 29 to 2-9. Shakib recording figures of 4 for 9. Kipling Doriga, however, walks away with his head held high. And this is what it's all about when I think you're an emerging nation or associate nation, of having that ability to go back to your country and turn around and say, well, I finished with 40 odd not out. I was the only resistance. And I even hit the fizz for a couple of sixes. Bangladesh cruised through to the Super 12s with this victory, even after losing to Scotland in the first game. And unfortunately, Papua New Guinea are eliminated. So, yeah, it was an absolute shambles, really, from Papua New Guinea, wasn't it?
Right, let's be fair to them. They are a team from a micronation in cricket terms that have, I think, 1 or 2 towns that really produce cricketers for them. They haven't played a game for 18 months. A lot of their players play in Australian grade cricket, I think. And they haven't been able to go to Australia to play cricket because of the ongoing quarantine situation there. Look, it's not what they want, is it, to lose by 84 runs and get knocked out of the World Cup? But I think there are some things they can take away from it. There have been a couple of decent knocks through the tournament from a Papua New Guinea point of view. I think they bowled reasonably well in the Scotland game. I think they actually gave Scotland maybe not a scare, but it was a closer game than I think we all thought that match would be after we saw them versus Oman. And their kit will go down in history as one of, Ross, you slagged it off, but I think if we were going to do a
slag
poll,
it off.
Yeah, you did. You said Oman's was better. That's definitely.
Is that slagging it off?
I don't know. It's
I mean, our cricket podcast is better than the Cricket Badgers. That doesn't mean I'm slagging off the Cricket Badgers, does it? That doesn't mean I'm doing that.
Last time you did this, people wrote us letters.
Write some more. Write some more. That's what I'm saying. Let me talk about that Papua New Guinea participation before we get into it. I think it's actually really, really important that Papua New Guinea were here and actually playing. And let's be honest, they weren't here by luck. They qualified for this. They outbeat some of the other associate and emerging nations. And I saw some people on Twitter suggesting that it was a bit of a waste of time that they were involved. But cricket, as we know it, is typically its own worst enemy. As it is it's a real self-confidence issue. It's almost like you're watching like one of those American teenage shows that used to be aired on Nickelodeon. They're always worrying about how relevant they are, how popular they are. And that is saying, cricket.
Just to be clear here, cricket is Mean Girls, and England, Australia, and India are the girls that Lindsay Lohan hangs out with.
That is what I think I'm saying. I think you've summed it up quite nicely there. Because I do think that big three, that they're kind of seeing that, we can get more fans in our country and we can take them away from football, we can take them away from rugby, take them away from the Australian one. And it's, for me, in cricket's growth area and cricket's popularity is where the market is untapped. It's where the players are at. It's where the keenness comes from. And that's where Papua New Guinea actually add to that drama. They add to the excitement. And I think they can go away with their head held high, actually, especially after all the lack of preparation they actually got because of Australia's quarantine rules. And I hope it inspires some other people to actually start playing cricket.
Yeah, I think well said. Ronan, Bangladesh after the Scotland match, Bangladesh in the Scotland match looked like a complete disaster of a side. For the first 30 overs of the game via Oman, they looked like they were going to go out of the World Cup after 2 matches. Here they looked better. Where are Bangladesh any good, do you reckon?
I don't know. Well, they had us 53 for 6, and then they ended up.
I always forget about that bit of the narrative.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Their bowling attack's really good with the Fizz, Shakib. The 2 spinners are amazing. And then the Fizz is obviously one of the best death bowlers going. And then that Tuscan Ahmed, he's been quite impressive. And so is Saifuddin as well. They've got a lot of pace about them. So they do have a good attack. But I think it was evident in the Scotland chase where their main problem lies. And they've made changes to the batting lineup. And was it Naeem who came in? I know he got a duck today, but I think he got, was it about 70 against Oman? Mm-hmm. They've switched around the order because didn't Mushfiqur and Mamadou come in at like 7 and 8 or 8 and 9 or something the other day? Yeah. So they are trying to address the issues that they've got. I think it's with the bat, they don't have enough like kind of powerful boundary hitters that are going to win them games. But I think from the Scotland game, they recognise that and they've tried to make the changes to to sort it.
Yeah. Yep. I think Bangladesh are going to get smashed in the next round, to be honest. I don't think beating Papua New Guinea. I hate to say it. I mean, I do like Bangladesh. I went to their group game against New Zealand at the Oval, and I really enjoyed that. Their fans are great, but I think for some of the reasons you sort of outlined there, Ronan, they're just not a very good T20 cricket team.
But when you see like South Africa, do you not
We've lost
think they
Ronan.
can beat them because they're kind of similar?
South Africa, yeah. I mean, I think they in theory could. I mean, South Africa have. I mean, to be honest, I don't think Australia are very good. I do think that on paper when this draw was made, the groups looked quite even. But now that you see the actual squads that teams have lined up and who's qualified where and so on, I think England's group is. If England don't go through, that would be quite embarrassing, Ross. Just to divert into that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Australia to finish bottom of the group. Don't get me wrong, but I think Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are going to come into England's group, and yeah, I think Ronan's right. I think they've got a pretty handy bowling lineup, but again, their fielding's not brilliant, and they're not going to be intimidating when it comes to batting. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if they're going to bat or bowl first. I think they'll just get taken down by some of the bigger name players. But people can have a day out, right? Shakib today, 4 for 9. The Fizz is more than capable of having a day out. And Mamadullah showed today that he's got a bit of batting quality in that middle. But they need another one or two batsmen to actually be able to threaten, I think.
Yeah. Shakib, isn't he the top wicket taker? There's a good move from him to get Bangladesh into... I don't know if he orchestrated this, but it was a good move. If he did, good move for him to get them into the preliminary Group A, Group B thing so that he could juice his wicket stats. Going into the rest of the tournament because he wouldn't want to miss out on an individual award, would he? Anything else on Bangladesh or Papua New Guinea, Ross, Ronan?
I think from my point of view, I think that you talked before around we were talking about fielding, and I think for emerging nations and associate nations, it's a thing that you don't need good facilities to be good at. I thought Papua New Guinea were pretty good with actually catching the ball, but terrible on the ground fielding. And it's just that bit of this. It shouldn't be an excuse. And there are games in T20 where a big chunk of it is kind of luck, right? The games are so close together, and so small little moments in the game can make a huge difference to swaying momentum or getting out a good player or whatever. And I just think they've kind of missed their opportunity a little bit because that could easily help you. And I think Scotland have actually done well in that regard.
Do you want to know the stats
catches
on this, Ross? Scotland's catch percentage is like 60%. It's the worst.
Great. I love watching it though.
Well, watching them drop it. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, Ronan, anything from you on Group B before we close the book on it? And people are desperate for us to talk about India v Pakistan, so we'll oblige.
No, I think you're right with what you said about the groups being different. When I looked at how we got through, I was like, oh, in a second. No.
Cool. Ross, India are taking Pakistan. Well, I haven't put this in the title, so this is just bonus stuff for anybody that listened through this. I don't know if you're going to be on a podcast before Sunday. I know we're doing India v Pakistan together. What are your thoughts on the big one?
Oh, well, I think actually Pakistan have a pretty good chance of turning India over because I think India, and this is not going to be popular, but I'm not here to make friends. But there is a bit around India starting slowly. I mean, it's happened under Kohli's captaincy a couple of times in kind of the test matches, and I think there is a bit sometimes where they just have to be reminded of how to play 2020 cricket properly. And England did that when we played against them in India. First game kind of got one over on them, and then all of a sudden we're going to change our lineup and actually play a proper team. So I think they always have to be a little bit wary of that first game. And Pakistan have a real point to prove, right? England did them over. India constantly do them over by not letting their players play in the IPL. It's a fraught rivalry at the best of times. So I think it's such a charged event that it's going to be a pretty spectacular, proper opener for India and Pakistan.
Yeah, it should be a feast. We were talking about this with Dan Weston, I think, a couple of nights ago. Or it might be knackle. I was talking about it with somebody on this podcast, like I do basically every bloody night. And I think I've got a feeling that Pakistan might win. I think they'll be really up for it, and I think Pakistan, as we all know, they're a team that surf the wave of emotion, and if they do pull off a victory against India, I think they're nailed on to make it to the knockouts. And from an England point of view, on the other side of the group, I don't really fancy them, to be honest. If they're on a roll.
Well, as the guys in the chat are saying, and Pranjal has said that India has a 12-0 record versus Pakistan, so it's not in the favour of Pakistan. But like with everything like this, they're meant to be broken. These kind of things, right? So who knows?
Ronan, what do you reckon? India or Pakistan?
I don't know. I like both their teams, to be fair, but I think before I would have said I think India would have been the favourites for me, but especially the last game spoke about how South Africa's batting lineup doesn't have that much firepower about it. But Pakistan couldn't even defend 190 against them in the warm-up game the other day. So I don't know, because I rate obviously Shaheen Shah Afridi highly, and I think Imad Wasim's a really good T20 bowler. But the fact that South Africa have managed to chase 190 against them probably isn't the best of early signs.
Warm-up games are pointless. Warm-up games are literally there just to give a bit of match practice. It's better than batting in the nets. Swaraj has put in the chat, has Ross seen the warm-up games? Yeah, I've seen them, but I don't give a shit about them. Honestly, you can just go play a warm-up game. It's got nothing on the line. Nobody really cares. The best players perform when it actually counts. So
you're saying Pakistan have the best players? That's what we're inferring from these comments.
Pakistan they don't have the best players, but they've got the players who you have no idea what they're going to do, and on their day they can be unbelievable. And I think they've got people in that team who can easily switch it on. You talked about Shaheen Afridi, Babar Azam is there, and I mean, let's be honest, it's always the argument between him and Kohli, right? We're actually going to get to see that out in front of everyone, and I think this is such a fun thing, T20, when it comes to India versus Pakistan, as it's close already.
And they've got Matt Hayden, which is, a difference maker.
Hayden way, yeah. But don't get me wrong. India's lineup it can be formidable. If India's selectors choose the right team, then they are the favourites for this World Cup. It is just that Indian selectors like to make it all about them sometimes, and it needs to be all about the players. And you saw that they got so much firepower in that side. They can stack batsmen from 1 to 7. Kohli is the anchor opening the batting, and just let fly.
He's going to bat 3 apparently. We've heard because of King Legend.
Fine. Okay, even King of Legend, go for it. Like if he bats the way he's batted in the last game against England, brilliant. Bring it on, because it's amazing to watch. And I know that I give stick to KL Rahul, but let's be honest. Punjab Kings have finished what? 6th last 3 years in a row.
We get 8th and a 7th thrown in there, to be honest, Ross.
Yeah, whatever. So they're rubbish, and all we get told is he has to bat this way because the rest of his team is rubbish. Bullshit. That's just not true. He doesn't have team orders. He just doesn't have the ability to do it for Punjab Kings. So,
can you just settle this, Ronan, really briefly? Who would you rather have in your dressing room, Dhoni or Hayden?
Dhoni, I think.
Dhoni. Okay, well, yeah. Obviously, Ronan's angling for more Twitter followers. With that comment, fellas, I think we've basically covered this round. The last thing I'll ask, just for you, Ronan, is India, Pakistan. From the Scotland point of view, you're going to be playing both of them. Which are you looking forward to, and which do you think you have a better chance of beating?
I think more chance. Well, probably looking forward more to the India game because just how big it'll be. But I think we maybe have a bit more of a chance of beating Pakistan.
Okay, well, there we go. I think that's everything, Ross, if that's everything for you.
Yeah, it is. That is everything from me. All I can say is that I am buzzing to watch India versus Pakistan. And I think we'll be back tomorrow, right, to cover Ireland's famous win over Namibia as they go through.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved this first round, by the way. I think it's really good. 2 games a day, and they've all mattered because of the format. And you see loads of cricketers that you just don't have the time to see normally. So it's been a great World Cup so far. I'm really looking forward to that. We've got shows Saturday, England, West Indies, and then Sunday, India, Pakistan. So we've got shows up to our eyeballs. Patreon.com/The Cricket Pod, at The Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We're sponsored by Woodstock. If you're watching this video on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us which team, out of India and Pakistan, who's more scared of Scotland? Let us know. let us know the answer to that. That's a whole different way of looking at cricket. And thank you very much for watching. Ronan, last word from you. Where can people find you one more time?
It's at Scouting Cricket on Twitter, or the website is www.scoutingcricket.com, or my own account's at Ronan_45.
Cool, perfect.
Is that your batting average?
Oh, that'd be a good
Bone average. Bone economy.
Good. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. See you later. All done.